Episode 119, Nicolas Lemieux. Good morrow, and welcome back to the Realm. I'm author J.V. Hilliard, and today I have a very special guest, a friend of mine that I've met on the author circuit. He's a new author to sci-fi, and in particular, he's focusing on epic sci-fi space operas. And if you don't know what a space opera is, stay tuned. He'll tell you all about it here on the Realm. Well, Nicolas, thank you very much for being on the Realm today. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here, and it's great to meet you.
You know, for my viewers that don't know, Nicolas gave me my first interview as an author. I reached out to him in the hopes that I would, finally land my first opportunity to market The Last Keeper, which is the first novel in my series. And Nicolas was the one to give that to me. So I appreciate that. And, I wanted to return the favor by having you on the Realm. And so, Nicolas, we run in very similar but parallel paths. I'm on the fantasy adventure side, and you're on the sci-fi space, sort of like space opera epic side.
That's right.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how you're marketing it.
Okay, so I'm writing, it's a space opera story. It's going to be called Seven Drifts. It takes place in a city that used to be a starship, but it got stranded 200 years in the past. The city's called Seven, and the captain of the ship doesn't call himself a captain anymore. He's the mayor of the city, and it's the best place in the universe. Good living and fine dining, and we have everything we need. So why would we need to think about anything else then? So from that, you can probably imagine that it's a rebellion story, because of course it's all lies. And the mayor may or may not be the villain. It probably is. Spoiler alert. And the city is shaped, you see, as a huge stack of O'Neill cylinders. O'Neill cylinders are huge cylinders that rotate to generate the illusion of gravity. So if you live at the 1G level, it's the comfortable, normal, quote unquote, gravity. But if you go downstairs, you find yourself in hyper G. And if you go up to the central actual part of the city, then there's some zero gravity part. So I can play with a lot of different environments, and it's fun.
No, I was going to say, no, that's pretty
Okay.
cool, because we see, in the Star Warses and the Star Treks of the world, there's not a lot of explanation as to, how they're able to walk along in their ships or exist in their ships. You just presume that there's something there. Is that something that you find that's unique to your novels, or what inspired you to make that part of it? Because it sounds like the city is almost its own character.
Yeah, it actually is, I think. I don't know if you watched the amazing series, The Expanse.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that because they take a lot of care, using gravity the right way.
It's funny you mention that, because there are a lot of like scientific falsehoods that are easily worked away when you get into sci-fi. And I think a show like Expanse, it's a big part of, that sci-fi that walks the line from being really truthful and then something that's totally made up. And it's interesting that you've embraced that in your novels. What other kind of technology have you introduced that we might not see that is unique to your world?
It's very interesting that you should mention that fine line, between respecting what we know of science right now and what could be in the future. And I've tried to stay with the things we know that are, kind of realistic, but also at some places in the story, I allowed myself to go into more imaginary stuff.
Well, let me ask you this question. I'm presuming, and you've already kind of hinted at it, that this is going to be a series, right? I mean, it sounds to me, when I say epic, I know it's going to be something broad. This is something you see playing out into a 3, 4, 6-book series. I mean, where's your head?
Great question. So yeah, in my mind, I have at least 4 stories and also ideas for what comes next.
Well, let me ask you this then. Was there a single inspiration for the novels, or did you cobble this together over your years of being a fan of the genre, or how did this come about?
So I would say I was doing morning pages, actually. Morning pages, you write 3 pages in the morning, and I did that for years, and it's like a dream catcher. All the ideas that you have during the night or all day, you can write them down. And I had this prompt, so they left, or thus they left, and I went with it for about an hour, and I had like the seed idea for the story, and it was about, you know, that city fled its home world, got damaged, traveled for 200 years, and when they woke up, they were just in the middle of nowhere. So they made the most of it. But one man, after about 100 years, questioned the driftism as a philosophy and way of life. Are we going to drift forever, aimlessly, or
that's the name of the story. I get the name of the story now. That's
yes?
pretty good. It's pretty. You snuck that in on me, eh?
Oh, maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's about driftism and, you know, inertia and not facing to our real demons.
Well, tell me this, Nicolas, how have you decided to market your works?
So I started with a basic platform, and I use Tim Grohl's connection system. So it's about permission, outreach, and content. So I have started putting out content. Permission is asking permission to be on the mailing list, and outreach, I've been inviting a ton of people to my mailing list, and it opened so many doors that I never dreamed of, like meeting you, for instance.
And it's been my honor. But are you interested in doing this as an indie author, or are you going to try to query the traditional path and find a publisher?
I have nothing against traditional, but I'm going to go for indie to start with. That's for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to
congratulations on that path. Yeah. No. Good.
Yeah.
Well, hey, we're coming to the end of the realm, and during that, I have a few lightning round questions for you. So, are you ready to play?
I am excited. Looking forward to them.
Okay. First question, and this is an important question, because as you can tell, I'm from Pittsburgh, so there's another Lemieux that happens to be from Montreal, who now is a Pittsburgher that we all know and love here. So I'm going to start with a couple of hockey questions, if you're okay with that.
Okay, I'm not very knowledgeable about hockey, but yeah.
Sorry, these are simple questions. Wayne Gretzky or Mario Lemieux? And don't get this one wrong.
Oh, Mario.
All right, of course. Yeah, the second question, Montreal Canadiens or the Habs, if you want to call them that, or the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Oh, Canadiens. No question about that.
All right. I had to get that one out of the way. That was a gratuitous kind of warm-up. So, getting more attuned to you and your work. Star Wars or Star Trek, and why?
Okay. Well, the original Star Trek series, oh yeah, I rewatched that a few times. Well, kind of lately, but also Star Wars, because you can't make me choose, man.
I have to. I got to be honest. I've been asked that on other shows. Yeah. And unlike you, I walk the path between because I like them both. And it's amazing. There are people that love Star Wars and they can't stand Star Trek, and vice versa.
The latest Star Wars series I love, like Andor. Wow, so well written.
Right.
Wow, I really enjoyed that. Mandalorian. It's more like children's story, but I love it.
Yeah, it's turned into something I didn't expect either. I mean, literally, Mandalorian has become this Baby Yoda phenomenon, or Grogu. And all of a sudden, now I've got my wife who would never, ever watch Mandalorian. She's now watching it because it's not the Mandalorian, it's the Baby Yoda show.
It's the Baby Yoda. Yeah. It is, of course.
Hey, look, thank you very much for being on The Realm today. I really appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to reading your stuff when it comes out. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So there's a guy who walks the walk and talks the talk. He knows the science behind the science fiction. He knows how to walk that path between the two and introduce you to something that you might see in the next generation or the generation after that. And if you're a fan of sci-fi like I am, you'll enjoy Nicolas's work. So I'm looking forward to reading his stuff when it's officially out, although I will say I've asked him for an advanced reader copy, so I hope I can get that. And speaking of advanced reader copies, my third novel will be launched, The Trillius Gambit, coming out in April of 2023. And if you want to come and see me, I will be at GalaxyCon at the Richmond Convention Center at the end of March 24th through the 28th, and I look forward to seeing you there in person. Thank you again very much for attending The Realm today, listening to our guest, Nicolas, and may your gods go with you.